You are listening to Lanchan's Guide to Being a Single Parent. Lesson 1. Illness. Part 1 of the Lanchan's Guide to Being a Single Parent series. Chapter 1. How to Deal with an Illness. Lanchan looked to the child on the bed, flushed with fever. Shifting a little closer to him so he could place the cool, wet cloth on Wen Yuan's forehead, he fought back a wince from the pain in his back. His brother had been by, trying to get him to relinquish Wen Yuan to the healers. Lanchan refused, not wishing to take a chance that they would keep Wen Yuan away from him. "Zhan Gaga, Granny," came a sniffling cry from the bed. "Shush, Ayuan, it's all right," Lanchan said softly, reassuring the child once more that everything will be all right. Fevered eyes locked onto Lanchan's golden ones. "Rich Gaga, they hurt Zhan Gaga and Granny," he cried, reaching out for Lanchan. Ignoring the pain in his back, he reached out and took the child into his arms once more, holding him. I know they hurt them, but I'm here, and you're safe now, Ayuan. You're safe with me," he said, rocking him. He could feel the blood beginning to soak through his clothes, but he didn't care. It was his heart that hurt the most. Not only for Wen Yuan and all that he had lost, but for himself and losing Wei Ying. "Zhan Gaga," Wen Yuan cried, clinging to Lanchan. "Bad people got Zhan Gaga. They hurt him, and aunties, and uncles, and Granny. They fall down, and they were all red," he said, tears falling from his silver eyes. They held so much pain, just like Wei Ying's did. "I know, Ayuan," Lanchan said, his own emotions trying to force themselves past the tight hold he had on them. He rocked the child until he fell asleep in his arms once again. He moved back to the bed. Kneeling beside it, he continued to care for the child, only looking up as the door to the Jingsha opened and Lan Shichen walked in. "Brother," Lanchan greeted, no emotion in his voice as he did so. Part of him was still hurt that his brother had gone to the burial mounds, gone to harm Wei Ying. "Wang Ji," Lan Shichen said softly, voice full of pain. He walked over, looking to the child on the bed. "How is he?" he asked. "Remembering what happened," he replied bluntly. He felt his brother flinch at the remark. "Let me take care of your back. It's bleeding heavily again," he murmured. Lanchan gave a nod, not moving from his spot as he let the ropes pull around his waist. He refrained from reacting to the pain he felt as his brother cleaned out the whip marks. "Some of them are infected," he said softly as he began to put ointment on them. He wasn't supposed to. They both knew that. Was Lanchan's only remark as he looked at Wen Yuan. The child began to move around. Moving away from his brother, he quickly scooped the child into his arms as Wen Yuan began to scream, begging for his Zhan Gaga and Granny to come and get him, to not leave him alone. "Ayuan, it's okay," Lanchan said once more, something he had been saying since the moment he had brought the child home. The last link he had to Wei Ying. "You're safe," he murmured, pressing his head against the child's. Finally, a few tears fell from his eyes, falling onto Wen Yuan. Wen Yuan stopped crying, breathing harshly as he curled as close to Lanchan as he could. He let his brother finish treating his wounds, and then slowly and carefully, because of the sleeping child, he put his robes on straight. Laying the child on the bed, he climbed in beside him, holding him and ignoring his brother, relaxing even more when he walked out of the Jingsha. "We'll be okay," he murmured a promise as he closed his eyes and let himself rest while he could. It was another 3 days before Wen Yuan's fever broke, and to Lanchan's grief and relief, the child no longer remembered his Zhan Gaga, his granny or aunties or uncles. Lanchan was alone once more in his grief of a bright young man that the world persecuted. But he was relieved that Wen Yuan no. Lan Yuan no longer felt the pain of loss anymore. Lan Shan's lesson. When a child is ill, a parent doesn't stop caring when they are ill or hurt. They can go through anything for their child. They come first.